counter.
But no, I feel
It feels very
Hello and welcome to the Unwanted Opinion podcast, the show in which me and my friends give our unwanted opinion on all things film. My name is Lewis and I'm joined today with Kyle.
Hello.
Hello, and Gonzalo.
Hey, how we doing?
Yes,
Trinity
we're all
is back
finally
together.
back. Trinity's back.
Ben's
It's been
back.
too long.
Yes.
Gonzalo's been set free from his horrible conditions which he was put under. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
he's
Sure.
laughing,
Actually,
but
that's
it's not. It wasn't great.
No, it really wasn't. But it's fine because I'm free to do this kind of thing now. I'm actually not in my house even. I'm in a hotel room, but it's fine because I got the mic, so we can actually do this.
But
That's
that's not related to his horrific conditions. He's not like
No,
on
no.
the run from anyone.
I'm not.
Yeah, he's not.
Just,
I'm on the
just the
run
way you
from the
said
law.
that, he's like horrific conditions.
I'm
he's now in a
escaping.
hotel room.
I'm under
It's
a
like
bridge.
A incident. I'm like, he's not.
True,
I'm in a
true.
dirty down motel south of Alabama, trying to hide from the law.
all I had on me was a.
That was a pretty good accent.
Was the clothes
Thank
on my
you.
back and my microphone to record my podcast.
Yes,
Yes.
that's all. That's all.
That's just the shirt and the,
The
mic.
two necessary things.
Ah, of course. Well,
Yeah.
okay, look, I know I lie. I do this every week. I seem to lie about what we're doing the following week, but we're not doing stop motion animation
Yeah.
this week because
Yeah.
we decided to ride the wave of the awfulness that was the Meg 2 and talk about films that are actually so bad they're good. You know, that's something the Meg was trying to be, but was just straight up terrible.
No, yeah.
So that will be on docket today, and no other reviews. Sadly, no other reviews. Nothing really came out for us this week. August is a pretty depressing month in film, actually.
Yeah,
I
surprisingly, because
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
think about it, at least for Spain, August is the month where most people take their vacation, where most people go on holiday for like a week or two. It's weird that there's no real big
I
releases.
personally never understood why
Yeah.
studios are scared of August. Like, they
Yeah.
cram their films in May, June, July, and there's so much time in August. Like, schools are still off for the most
Yeah.
part across the world. It honestly boggles my mind why August is
Like
not
a
more
lot
popular
of
month
people
for
are
films.
coming back from holiday and
Exactly.
trying to get back in the groove of things, but that means that they have still things that they want to do holiday wise. They're not out. I mean, send your fucking kids to the movies, right? Like that seems like the perfect time. Oh well.
But yeah, so let's just jump right into this so bad
Yes.
they're good topic. Now, this is a very hard thing to get right, I think, right? Because
Agreed.
like we talked about the Meg last week, where I said that film was just so badly put together and acted and whatnot that it just came across as boring to me. I didn't think it was funny or fun because it was trying to be too serious and all sorts. So this is a very niche camp where a film has to truly go beyond the realms of just a bad story and a bad film to be truly entertaining, and it's a very, very hard thing to achieve, and actually something, Gonzalo, that you actually don't think you've experienced before.
I've never experienced this. So the thing with me is that there's two types of reactions I can have to bad movies. One, this is so bad and boring, please kill me. And the other one is, holy shit, they were so close to doing something good and they fucked it up, please kill me. That's the only two reactions I have to bad movies.
Okay.
So I've never really experienced, I've seen a bunch of the cult classics, so bad it's good movie. Like people always talk about The Room as a so bad it's good
Yeah.
movie. I couldn't get through The Room. I think it's boring as fuck. I don't think there's anything much interesting about it.
Wow,
I don't know.
hurts.
I don't know. It honestly, I didn't find it funny. I love the quotes from it. I like the memes. I'm not putting myself through that again. It's way too long. I'd watch it
It's
if it was
not
20
too
minutes.
long. It's the perfect length.
It's
No,
I
actually,
can't. Yeah.
I must confess, right?
Yes.
I love The Room. I've seen that film probably 6 times.
Mm.
And look, caution of warning to anyone who wants to go in and watch The Room.
Mm.
The first 15 minutes are really hard to sit through. I will give you that. Like, there's 3 sex scenes in the first 15 minutes,
Yes.
and they're all
Yes,
terribly
they're so
filmed.
uncomfortable.
And there's this.
They make me
I
feel
don't know
so
what,
uncomfortable. I just
Exactly.
keep thinking about issues of consent during filming. As soon as I see them, I'm like, holy shit! Am I just witnessing some horrible assault right now? This is so uncomfortable.
Just
It-
witnessing
But then-
assault.
But then something happens in the room, and it's the iconic flower shop scene. And in the flower shop scene, I think this is where the film switches up and really wakes up. the flower shop scene where
Oh, hi there.
Tommy Wiseau's character Johnny
You're
goes
my
into the
favorite
flower shop.
customer.
Yeah, you're my favorite customer. No, the exchange
Hi,
makes
doggy.
absolutely no sense. No one's talking to anyone.
Yeah.
It's all terribly dubbed.
ADR.
The whole
yeah.
film is terribly dubbed, pretty much. And the entire character of Denny and his apparently he's a drug addict in it, and he just comes out of nowhere, and then
Yeah.
it just those problems just go away. And there's this other scene, the alleyway scene. Look, if you're going to watch anything in that film, obviously watch the memes, Lisa, you tear me apart, all that nonsense, right? But watch the alleyway scene from The Room. And I've watched this scene so many times, and I do not understand it. I do not understand how that actually got made. How did they think... It doesn't make any sense. It boggles my mind. I'm sorry. I just can't put into words how bizarre that scene is, but I fucking love it.
Do you
So
know
The
the
Room is
thing-
actually a comfort food for me going through that.
Yeah.
I love it.
See, I can value a film like The Room as like an artifact of culture, and I can see a lot. Like, you can take a lot from it by analyzing it and the way it was made,
Yes.
as you can take from any bad film. And like, especially in The Room, a thing that I find very interesting is that the way that most big budget Hollywood movies are made. The director doesn't really have that much input in most of the average Hollywood movies, and a lot of it goes to the fact that like the crew knows what the fuck they're doing, and the director just leaves them to do it, so they do a pretty decent job and the movie looks okay. This is someone that is so fucking horrible, such a horrible person, such a controlling fucking freak, that he managed to hire people that knew what the fuck they were doing and get them to not do it correctly.
Wow.
And I think that's like a pretty powerful reflection of the person that is the director of this movie, Tony Wiseau or Tommy.
Tommy Wiseau, yeah. Tommy Wiseau, yeah.
Toby Wiseau, there you go.
The Room did cost $3 million to make.
Yes,
so
and it
no
looks.
one knows how.
It looks like they spend the $3 million on maybe one lens.
But look, Kyle, let's go to you first, right?
Yes.
You've got a fair few you want to talk about.
I
You've got a fair
have
few
got
so
a
bad
fair-
they're good.
Yeah, I've got a fair few. I'm going to start with Halloween Kills. Now,
Excellent choice.
it is an excellent choice. Now, obviously, that we're talking about...
How many different episodes have we talked about this movie?
Not
Because I
enough.
feel like
Not enough.
you guys complain about me bringing up fucking Speed Racer in every episode, but I feel like
But this is good.
We have not. We maybe Halloween Ends, but we've not talked about Halloween Kills as much.
Yeah,
I don't think.
Halloween
I don't know,
Kills
man.
has
I
been
feel
a
like
while.
there's a mention in there somewhere.
There's been a mention, but anyway, yeah, Halloween Kills was the kind of
Yeah.
the sequel to 2018's Halloween, which I still say is actually quite a good film. So there's a lot of kind of hype, and you're like, okay, what's going to go on here?
Yeah.
And me and Lewis went to see it, and oh my god, this film is
Yeah.
the funniest slasher I've ever seen. There's so much that's wrong with this film actually, from everything. But there's a running theme in the film that the night is 40 years since the events
The first
of
Michael
the
Myers
first,
murder. Yeah.
yeah,
murders,
in
yeah.
1978 it would have been, because
Yeah. Yeah.
said 2018, and there's just a whole running thing of them chanting 40 years ago, or and it is, oh my god, it's so funny.
40
There's
years
like
and
there's
five
a
score.
selection of characters that they have that are that are from the original film. You've got Michael Anthony Hall from The Breakfast Club and 16 Candles there as one of these kind of like picketers just yelling around the place. You've got some of the funniest. I argue you have the funniest kill on screen ever, right?
Oh, I know the one you're talking
Spoilers
about.
for a film that came out only 2 years ago actually, which is kind of mad. 'Cause
Damn.
That feels like eternity ago.
it does. But there's a kill where there's like a truck scenario and there's a girl trying to kill Michael, and she's got a gun. And the way it happens is Michael just opens the door, slams the door, and it just yanks her hand and to end up shooting her in the face. and that's
Yeah,
how she dies. It is the funniest
So
thing
stupid.
you'll ever. But obviously, like, the scene's meant to be like this film. Just so you know,
Yeah.
is meant to be a very kind of traditional, I say in quotations,
Yeah.
horror stroke
Yeah.
slasher. It's not your, your Jason versus Freddy's or your
Mhm.
not Halloween, Scream films, which are a wee bit more, or especially your earlier Scream films, which are a wee bit more kind of
More
jokey.
comedic, yeah.
This was meant to be serious, and
Yeah.
oh my god, you're just watching this film and you're like,
Hmm.
this
Uh,
is the biggest
I mean,
pile of dog shit I've
David
ever
Gordon
seen.
Green, who directed that trilogy and directed it into a whole, when he thought he was making this really astute film that talks about, you know, mob mentality and how misinformation spreads and
Yes.
the damage that causes. But what that does is make the entire town of, was it Haddonfield, just look like a bunch of morons and idiots who then,
Yeah.
and don't forget about the scene where they think this mentally ill patient is Michael Myers, even though he's this small,
he's a
bald
tiny guy.
old man, and everyone knows Michael Myers is about 6'6" tall and super strong and can wipe out anyone, right?
Yeah.
But they go, that's him, and they chase him all the way to the roof of a hospital building until he jumps off, and then it becomes this moment where the mob have to go, guys, we've got to reflect. Look what that monster's done to us. But it's just so stupid, and Jamie Lee Curtis has to like inject herself with adrenaline to be like and to go charging through the mob and then to go face Mike. Oh, it's Michael, and it's so stupid. The kills are stupid, and
God.
like you said, Kyle, all those things where they have like, you know, it's like just a bar on Halloween night and they're doing like karaoke or something, and then for some reason someone just brings down the mood to talk about a tragedy that happened 40 years ago and then points out people in the bar who were there.
Yeah.
Like the nurse, do you remember her? She got run over by Michael Myers or like stabbed, and it's like, what the fuck is this?
It's
oh,
like really
it's
niche,
so badly
like
handled.
it's like really
yeah.
kind of like niche, like, you know, he was that janitor that was in that frame for 2 seconds. Do you remember
Yeah,
that frame?
yeah.
Like
It's
that one
so,
frame. And it's
so
weird
dumb.
because Halloween Kills, especially early on, did a really kind of unique thing with like a flashback kind of thing. And you're like, oh, I wonder what's this going to be. And then it just turned into the greatest, worst Halloween horror film I've ever seen.
I mean,
Unlike
the
Halloween
Halloween
Ends, which
franchise-
is just shit.
Yeah,
and
I
not
mean,
even in a fun way.
the Halloween franchise has some quite fun,
Yeah.
stupid films in it. I mean, a lot of slasher films do, but that's an excellent choice, Kyle, for number one.
Yeah.
But I'm
What
gonna,
about you? Yeah.
Well, we talked briefly about The Room. I always have a soft spot for that. Very, very
Yes.
famous. Same with Neil Breen's Fateful Findings, which is just... It's absolutely incredible. If you do watch Fateful Findings, which I'm pretty sure the whole film is on YouTube, you do have to put it at 1.25 speed because the camera genuinely just moves so slowly, and it's like, right, you gotta move things along. But the
Really?
acting in that, the structure of it, the line delivery... It's,
oh wait, I
it's
think
astounding.
I know this movie.
Yeah, it's about, you know, this
I
guy
know
gets like
movie.
psychic powers,
Yeah.
and then he wants to basically hack into the government and expose all these government secrets. I mean, it's just
in.
so funny.
It's a
The
weird
green screen in it as well.
that really
Absolutely
wanted
brilliant.
to have two hot ladies at his side during
Yes,
a movie.
it's very bad. But I'm actually going to do a Gerard Butler double bill, and I reviewed one of these earlier this year. One of the first ones I reviewed this year, and I talked about it last week briefly as well. And that is Plane with Gerard Butler and Mike Coulter, who is most famously Luke Cage. And so what this film follows this pilot, who's obviously played by Gerard Butler, Brody, and their plane's like going across somewhere in Asia. I think it's the Philippines, and obviously he's flying over New Year's, and the plane malfunctions because, you know, there's a storm, and he crashes down on this island that, quote, the Filipino army is even too scared to go there because they got their ass kicked too many times because it's run by gangs and militia and all sorts, right?
Yes.
And so Gerard Butler,
Even the
who is
Filipino
literally
army? Oh my god.
yeah. And I forgot to mention, Mike Coulter's character is a prisoner who they're meant to just be taking to Toronto.
So it's
I
like
think
Con
it is.
Air mixed with Lost.
Yeah, they're literally transporting one passenger who's obviously kept under security, and he has a mysterious past as well, which gets uncovered as the film goes on. So then Gerard Butler has to team up with this criminal, and protect his passengers and save them and get them home off this island in the middle of the Philippines. It's just so silly. And look, the weird thing is, when it first starts, I was quite nervous. I thought, right, is this just going to be, bad? Because it just looked off, and it wasn't filmed very well. But it just, when they get to that island, man, it just kicks up a notch. And look, some of the action is actually really well filmed, I will say that. But it's just utterly ridiculous. And there's a scene where, so the airline behind it don't want, obviously, this getting spread out to the media. So what they do is the CEO hires a mercenary group to go save them, right? And when the mercenary group gets to the island, don't worry, Gerard Butler's, he's got it under control. But they save a bunch of the passengers, they get Gerard Butler, and then they're on this bus, and then the militia guys go to Gerard Butler, who's literally just an airline pilot, and they go, "What's the plan, Captain?" And Gerard Butler has to command these super trained, highly professional mercenaries to save them and get them off the island as well. It's absolutely phenomenal. And when the final act happens, it's just so dumb. I love it. And apparently it's getting a sequel called Ship. I mean, I can't wait. I really hope they make that.
Is he going to just turn into like, I piloted the skies, now I'm qualified to pilot a ship? It's all the same.
Aye. It's so funny. I mean, I think because apparently it's meant to follow Mike Coulter's character as he, apparently because he's like on the run still, so apparently it's going to follow him onto a ship. But the other one I'm going to briefly talk about is Geostorm, which came out in 2017.
These names, though.
Yes, Geostorm.
Geostorm.
So, do any of you remember the trailers, the adverts for this, or seeing this anywhere?
Yes.
Yeah, is this the one with the satellite?
Yes.
Yes, right, I do remember
this. Is the one where, like, it's supposed to be a storm, but it's, like, worldwide kind of shit, right?
Well, okay, I'll explain it briefly. So, we've basically perfected weather. We now have a satellite that can control the weather across the world. So, great. No more global warming. Places can get rain where there's drought. Places can be warmer where it's just miserable all the time. The world is in perfect harmony, right? Because we've mastered the elements. But when a bunch of terrorists somehow get onto that satellite and decide to, take the world ransom by just creating all sorts of weather disasters across the world, it's so silly, and it sounds like that could be a fun, campy
honestly,
ride.
Guys, really, like, if someone tells you the premise of there's a man-made satellite that controls the weather around the planet to try to, like, and can do anything and can acclimatize in a region and stuff, is your first thought for the bad guys really terrorists that hold the world ransom, or is it not just a corporation that holds the world ransom controlling the weather? Like, right? Like, if someone gave me that premise, I'd be like, oh, interesting. So it's like a dystopia where, like, there's one corporation that controls the entire weather. They're like, no, everything's fine. It's just these terrorists. They come in and muck things up for us.
These goddamn terrorists. And there is a moment in this, right? Do you remember the actor Robert Sheehan, he was in Misfits, Kyle? I don't know if you remember. Who's the Irish guy in Misfits, right?
He's in Umbrella Academy. He plays Klaus in the Umbrella Academy.
Uh-huh.
Which one?
There
sorry.
Is this...
Klaus, the...
Oh, Klaus. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I know that one. Yep.
There's a scene in this where they just because he's part. It turns out he's apparently part of the good guys. Part of the scientists who are going to help stop the terrorists and fix the satellite. But then twist, turns out he's one of the terrorists all along, right? And they literally just line for line rip off The Dark Knight, where he has a gun to Gerard Butler and says, because it's like, what you did it for? You did it for the money. You did it for this. And he goes, I just want to watch the world burn. And it's like,
do they actually say that? Like
my
100%?
God. Oh yeah, he says that. Absolutely,
Oh my
he says
God.
that.
No.
Oh, it's just absolutely shit. I mean, the
was already
CGI
a
as
pretty
well
questionable line
looks like
in the Batman movie. Holy shit.
it's just absolutely terrible.
Oh my
But
God.
look,
Yeah.
it has the whole classic. Actually, exactly like Plane, where Gerard Butler has a daughter he wants to get home to.
Yeah.
It's always got to be
Yeah.
the father and the daughter. It can never be a
'Cause,
mother and a son.
I
It
mean,
can never be a
Dude,
father and his son.
That's the
Uh-huh.
only love that super straight guys are allowed to have,
Uh-huh.
and it's one for their spouse or their children, or like bros, and that's about it.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
that's it. Okay, let's not. There's no other reason. That's what makes them have. That's as much feeling as they can have. Okay, don't question it. Don't question
and
it.
a parent has to be dead. It can only be
There
that
can
it
only be
has
the
to
one.
be him,
Yes.
and he has to protect his daughter. It's just classic stuff. But Gothal,
God.
do you have any? Because
Oh man.
any.
We've been talking about this shit, and I want to mention a movie that I recently watched with my family, and that I think is absolutely awful in every conceivable way. Like,
Yeah.
up to like the filmmaking was awful. Because like talking about it, I've been thinking, and like I've actually have enjoyed movies that were bad, but I don't think I've enjoyed them because they were bad. I think I've enjoyed them because of the people I was watching them with. So there was
Yeah.
the Sandra Bullock movie. This terrible Sandra
Stop
Bullock
there.
movie called The Lost City that came out recently.
Is that the one with Channing Tatum?
That's the one with Channing Tatum. Yes,
I remember seeing ads for that.
it's
where
really
like,
it's really
yeah.
bad. But it was I actually had a fun time just because I watched it with my family and we were laughing at how fucking shit it was.
Now-
So I think I might understand the whole
Is this
So
the
Bad It's
one?
Good movie.
Just
Yeah.
to clarify, is this the one where
Yes.
Sandra Bullock plays an author
Yes.
of some sort, and Channing Tatum is like the model that portrays
Yes,
the
yes.
character on the? Yeah, okay, I am remembering
yes,
that.
that is the one. Okay, so the premise is basically Sandra Bullock is this famous author that writes like romance books and stuff. And she's got this guy that she works with regularly, Channing Tatum, who's this hot model that models for most of her covers. It's like they're used to working together. And
I
stuff.
know the types of covers
Yeah.
you see them in like supermarkets, like
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah,
holiday
yeah.
reads, and it has
Exactly,
like a model
exactly.
on them, and
He's
it's like
got
the
the
cover looks
long
absolutely
fucking
terrible.
Flavio hair and
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
stuff, and it's like she was a woman, he was a man, and passion just happened. That kind of
Yeah.
shit. It's great stuff. Awesome genre. Thank you for existing. So
It's like a Romancing
basically.
the Stone. Have you ever seen
Yeah,
Romancing the Stone?
yes,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
that's what I was kinda
it's
thinking.
basically like a terrible version of Romancing the Stone.
Okay.
So basically, I think she gets kidnapped for some fucking reason because someone wants her to translate some shit. She's really smart, so there's like this treasure or whatever, this millionaire forces us to translate some shit. And so the guy who's the model, Channing Tatum basically, he really likes her and wants to prove that he's like the hero that she needs and stuff. So he goes try to save her life, and hijinks ensue. This movie had a pretty sizable budget, and I think they wasted it all on just vacationing on a tropical island because the ending of the movie, the end shot of the movie, is one of the worst green screens I have seen in my entire life in like a mainstream Hollywood movie. But yeah, it was. I wouldn't watch it again, but it was fun.
Well, recommendation.
I can't say it's boring. It's very predictable, but I don't know. I think maybe it's because I was watching with my family and doing the thing where I'm like, oh, this is going to happen next, and then it happens kind of shit.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
always kind of fun. But yeah, I think that might be the thing that's missing. I've seen a lot of this so bad it's good movies on my own, and I don't think it's a genre you can really enjoy alone.
Yeah,
You know?
honestly, you can't really do it by yourself, man. You
yeah.
need to have someone with you just to laugh along, like you're saying,
Yeah.
and just like make fun of it, because
I think that's the thing.
honestly,
'cause-
it's just a bit sad if you see it by yourself.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was just grueling experiences every time, and I'm like, I don't. Although I did, oh man, I did the new show that got so popular on Netflix, Wednesday. That was.
Oh,
I know you were not a big
I
fan
watched
of
that. I watched that on my own. I've only gotten through one episode. I tried to get to the first episode on my own. I couldn't. My sister tried to watch it with me, and she got just mad at me dismissing it constantly and like complaining. And then my girlfriend wanted to watch it with me. I managed to finish the episode. That show is so fucking terrible. I didn't have fun. My girlfriend had a lot of fun listening to me complain and lose my fucking shit over how bad this show is. But no, I did not have fun watching that. So like, I don't know if this genre is for me. I get too frustrated at like, you know, because like when someone has the resources and the will to do something like this, making certain mistakes, I just feel it's just like, it hurts me. You know, it's like, I mean, come on. Yeah. You have the possibility to tell a story here, and you're going to do that. That's the choice you're going to make. It kind of hurts me. You know, it kind of hurts me. So, yeah.
You should look at it that way, though. You should be like, that's stupid that they did that. That's funny. Someone else somewhere has made something better and probably did this right. You know,
I mean, for this one specifically, Romancing the Stone exists. Great movie.
Exactly.
Surprisingly holds surprisingly well.
It's brilliant. Yeah. It's a brilliant film.
So yeah.
Sorry, I just cut you off, Gonzalo.
No worries.
I want to jump on just since Gonzalo mentioned the TV show.
I wonder what he's going to say.
I just want to quickly bring up me and Lewis's secret love, Merry Happy Whatever, which is honestly, it's horrific.
It's awful. It's awful. It's one of the worst sitcoms I've ever seen.
But yet, there's something about it that made us watch 6 episodes.
We watched. I think it was 8. I watched the whole thing.
We watched the whole thing. It's the worst thing ever, but we watched the whole thing. And
no, literally, listen.
Oh my
if
God,
you want to watch a so bad it's good
I just looked at
show,
the cover and I'm like, no, thank you.
The concept is there's this guy who is meeting his girlfriend's family over the Christmas season, and he puts his foot in it. He does silly things, and Dennis Quaid plays the disgruntled father. Oh, he's not good enough. Maybe you should go back out with your ex-boyfriend. I liked him more, sort of thing. And me and Kyle, the only reason I think me and Kyle loved it so much is because early on we had a theory, and look, if you watch it, this is a good way to watch it, is watch all the scenes with Dennis Quaid and ask yourself, was he drunk filming that?
Yes.
Because his line delivery sometimes...
Yes.
It seems a bit slurry. He seems to always need to lean on a worktop.
I was going to say, I literally I'm just Googling it, but like half of the images that have Dennis Quaid in it, he has a cup of something in his hand.
Oh, he's got a cup of, he's got a
cup of something in his hand.
Possibly the best 5 minutes of the beginning of a show ever, where it establishes one of the sister characters. She walks in, she's having an argument with her husband about what they should have used for the Christmas card, and then they go, well, maybe we should get a divorce, and then he goes, yes, and you're just like, oh, what? And then an episode later, she's like, oh, I'm actually gay, and you're like,
yeah. Where does this come from? Yeah, and then she goes, actually, I'm going to get back with my ex-husband, and then
is it supposed to be like a long drama thing? Is it supposed to be like a reset kind of sitcom kind of shit? Or
it's just a bonus. They had plans to do multiple seasons, but obviously it just got cancelled after the one.
Oh no.
So this is a good segue into my actual next topic. If there's ever a film in the world that I wish made more money, right?
Yeah.
It would be this film.
Because you want a sequel.
Because if this film made enough money, the director said that they were going to film 2 sequels back to back.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And that is Moonfall.
Oh shit!
If Moonfall made more money, if Moonfall made any money, because it really didn't, they would have filmed 2 sequels back to back, and that is one thing that I will regret for the rest of my life, is that we'll not see these sequels.
Do you know the thing about Moonfall? I watched the trailer and it gave me flashbacks to watching the Independence Day sequel, and I was like,
it's the same director, man.
I know, and it's the same fucking. It looks like the same fucking movie.
Yeah, he also directed Godzilla. It's like 1998 Godzilla.
Oh yeah, the good one.
Don't. Godzilla's my baby. I will fight on a cliff if anybody even talks about that 1988 film. But
that's a load of fish. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got it came out in last year actually, 2022. Roman, and it's a classic disaster film where the moon's orbit is shifting and it's going to fall to Earth.
Yes, as happens every Monday.
What you get is just such a shit show of a film where
the CGI count,
horrific CGI.
I feel like this is the kind of film where like they definitely sent the CGI like fucking a week before it was about to, they were like they sent it to a ton of different houses. They were like, hey, so here, 1 hour of footage, you do this one, and they were like, what the fuck, we have a week.
I was on the same lines as Dennis Quaid. Patrick Wilson, I think he may have had a few shots of whiskey.
Actually, I think Patrick Wilson is really trying to do his best to salvage something from this, but it's not great. Yeah.
There's a fantastic scene where because he plays like a disowned NASA astronaut.
Yeah, he's a disgraced NASA scientist because he saw something on the moon, and NASA and the government are like, no, you didn't. It was your fault. The shuttle crashed and whatnot.
It's a cover-up, guys.
Covering up.
It's based on real events.
Yeah,
so
it's based on a true story.
It's interesting.
It's called Moonfall, based on a true story. And what happened was there's a scene where he's going to like this observatory to tell kids, and he arrives on a bike, and I'm like, could you not have gone outside in the parking lot and just shot that? Because it was in front of he's just arriving outside, and it's in the worst green scene known to man.
I know.
Yeah.
But you got Halle Berry and John Bradley from Game of Thrones fame.
Most famously,
yeah.
It's so bad because spoilers for a film that came out last year. But John Bradley turns into an AI on the moon.
Okay.
Oh yes,
Sure.
yes. Turns out the room. No, it turns out not the room. The moon is this massive. It's a
Dyson
a
sphere.
super. Yes,
it's a Dyson sphere.
Thing. Yeah.
That's a really fucking tiny Dyson sphere.
Dyson
spheres are like the size of a solar system, but sure, you go, girl.
Well, it was hinted that there could have been a bigger Dyson sphere.
There's a whole flashback narrated terribly by a child.
Is this question, guys? Is this the first time we've seen a Dyson sphere in a big budget movie? Because if so, that is a fucking disgrace.
I've not seen anything
because I don't think I've ever seen a Dyson sphere in sci-fi in like a big budget movie before.
Maybe in something like Event Horizon.
Did they have that?
I don't know. Maybe, but no.
By the way, for the listeners who don't know, a Dyson sphere is basically like the concept is a civilization
it's not a
that's
physics
like
podcast.
No, but it's a sci-fi thing. Like it's like a civilization that's like advanced enough that they basically build a machine around their star to harness 100% of its energy.
I saw Moonfall, man.
I know you have, but some of the listeners might not have. Okay. Anyways, yes.
Somebody said technically, Infinity War. You could argue that forge around the sun.
Yes, that's a good point. Okay, that's fine. I'm okay with that then. It's only.
But anyway, back to Moonfall. Horrific film, but I would recommend it any day of the week.
Yeah.
But it's also we saw it in 4DX. Me and Liz were having a bit of a pet. Yeah, we were having a bit of fun with it.
I think you have to see it in VHS to watch it and not feel that. Yeah.
There's a couple moments in the performances as well, mainly from Patrick Wilson's son, is I can't believe that. God. I can't believe he landed a role. I've never seen someone just have no expression while delivering lines like that on a film this scale. Then there's this scene where so the moon has destroyed California. Basically, it's destroyed California. It's caused a huge tsunami, and Patrick Wilson, obviously still disgruntled NASA astronaut. Basically, he's called in by NASA, like, please, we need you to do this mission. Like, there's no one left to do it. And then he just turns, looks out the window, sees California is sunk under the waves, right? And he just goes, I don't know, man. I got a lot of problems here on Earth. And it's like, There is no fucking Earth. What the hell are you talking about? He actually has to consider.
God.
I don't know, man. It's got a lot of
At
problems
the
here.
end of the film,
God.
they're like in the North Pole, and then they're joking like,
Oh.
"Oh, that's the Empire State Building." So actually, it's the Chrysler Building, and they have a laugh, and we're like, "If the Chrysler Building's at the North Pole, what do you think the state of the world's in?" And you're just laughing about this.
Oh,
And
God.
Kyle, there's the whole race to stop the army from nuking the moon. They're like, we gotta nuke the moon, man. This will save us.
That's like the fucking. That's like the ending of the fucking the Iron Robot movie.
Oh, it's
Oh,
so
God.
stupid. It's
Oh, God.
absolutely phenomenal.
I could
and
feel.
I could go on and on.
Yeah, like Roman Emmerich, like his kind of like table reads must feel like. Do you remember like those memes on like TikTok? You see like guys doing pitch meetings
Yeah,
on like
yeah, yeah.
films. It's like,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna
Yeah,
have
yeah.
somebody try and nuke the moon.
Yeah,
At the
yeah,
end,
yeah.
of it,
Yeah.
we're gonna have.
No, I feel
we're
like
gonna think it's the Empire State Building, but it's actually the Chrysler Building. Everybody laughs, applause, $1 billion. We're getting sequel. Like that's how I imagine he's like.
Yeah,
these
I
pictures
feel
together.
like the way he pitches it is he comes in with like a bunch of action figures and kind of like recreates the scenes by smashing
Yeah.
them together. He's like,
Yeah,
so we
yeah,
have the Earth, we have the Moon, it's gonna go, and then it's gonna go, and the whole thing's
I
gonna
just-
explode.
Oh, it would have been fantastic. Imagine the trilogy, Kyle.
I
Moonfall,
would have been.
Sunfall,
what would be
and
the first
Earthfall.
film? No,
Earthfall.
Earthfall, it
yeah.
just falls off orbit.
I'm sorry,
Into
Earthfall's
space.
too dumb a title. Earthfall is too dumb a title.
No, because you're going big. You're going moon, sun.
Okay, what about
You need
Moon,
something
Earth?
bigger.
What about Moon, Earth, Sun?
No,
No, I
'cause-
think you need to go bigger in like Galaxy Fall, where it's like the whole.
Galaxy
yeah,
Galaxy
yeah.
Fall.
So it's Moonfall, then it's Saturn waivers,
Mars
then
Fall.
it's
Sadly, that's a game. I was going to say Titanfall
Yeah.
because you know, like the one.
Titanfall is such a good game, by the way. Great name too.
Great game. Yeah.
Yeah. Best sci-fi name of all time, though. The first book of the Expanse series, Leviathan Wakes. Fuck me, that's a good name. That's a good
good
fucking name.
That's good.
But yeah, completely
But
unrelated to anything. I want to ask
Yeah,
one
well,
last
it's
question
like-
before we
oh,
move
okay.
on from Moonfall.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So there's this image that I've seen memes of, where there's
Yeah.
like a NASA shuttle with
Yeah.
the spray painted words saying "Screw the moon."
Oh, that's in the film
What's the context for that?
because they
There's-
have to basically reuse an old shuttle because
Okay.
there's no more shuttles going to space anymore. So they
Okay.
that's the one they have in.
And someone
like,
in the middle of the
some base.
apocalypse graffitied "Screw the moon" on that moon shuttle.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also,
I-
there's many name drops because the film was obviously
Yeah.
funded by Chinese production companies. So there's a lot of pro-China rhetoric, and there's also a lot of pro-Elon Musk rhetoric in the film.
No, there was
It's
a
very
lot of-
cringe.
Yes.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of.
That's the one thing that
Sam
makes me
thing
not
going
want to
on.
watch Iron Man 2 ever
I
again.
love Elon Musk.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
like a lot of I love Elon Musk.
Oh yeah, they
Very
literally
good.
go, "I love Elon Musk."
Do
on
they
this.
actually?
The
Do
Sam,
they
yeah, the
actually?
Sam character.
Right,
Yeah,
anyway,
see, that's a
look,
line in the
give
film.
us-
Do you think he
Yeah,
paid
so
for
I'll
it?
quickly do mine before we depart.
Yes,
And
yes, of course.
look, if you go to IMDb and look this up,
Indubitably.
Titanic: The Legend Goes On, which is actually a Spanish animated film.
Yes.
Um,
Don't pin
La
it on us.
Leyenda Continua is the Spanish. I hope that I pronounced that well for you, Gonzalo. And
Yes.
some people might know this. I think most famously, years ago, the Nostalgia Critic did a review on this.
Oh,
back
that's
when
where I
he
know
was-
that from. Before we knew
Yeah,
how
yeah.
much of a monster he was, yes.
Yes, but in the days before we knew, which
Yeah.
is sad.
Yeah.
But this has a 1.5 out of 10 on IMDb, which I love seeing that. And look, this is most well known for. Basically, it's just a classic love at first sight movie where there's just boy meets girl, they fall in love with each other on the Titanic. There's no character development, but also this is narrated by a mouse, and there's talking animals, and most famously, there is a rapping dog.
Yes. Very
Um,
racist rapping dog.
Very racist. The film
What's
is
a racist
yeah.
rapping dog?
Yes.
I mean,
I didn't realize
Yes.
that.
the movie is incredibly racist. It's really, really bad.
it's
like,
quite bad.
The
Yeah.
racism in this movie is off the charts. It's like it's supposed to be like a period piece, but then
Yes.
they bring modern stereotypes to all the animals. Yeah, it's yeah,
It's
it's hard to get through.
it's a shocking thing, and not only that, right? Okay, look, you could argue even that James Cameron's Titanic, forming a love story out of a tragedy of that scale, might be morally or ethically questionable.
Yes.
But they went hold my beer to James Cameron's film, right? Where they decided to go, not only we're going to go the whole Titanic film. They did the whole Titanic tragedy, sorry. And then, which is also, by the way, the models look, the character models in this are pretty much Leo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet. It's very clear what they're doing.
It's 100% a rip-off,
And then they go, no, the Titanic doesn't sink. We're going to get saved by a giant octopus who's going to glue it back together. And everyone lives happily ever after. I mean, holy
it's a good lesson,
fuck.
though. It's a good lesson.
Why did they think this was a good idea? Like,
it's a good lesson for kids. So I can answer that question. There's like a whole parallel industry to Hollywood. Of a bunch of grifters that just pay a very low amount of money to create movies that look and sound similar to big releases, big upcoming releases, just to try to like trick people into buying those movies instead. It's kind of slowed down since, streaming is a thing now. But back in the day, DVDs were like a big thing. People bought a lot of DVDs and stuff, and like there's so many versions. Like
I remember one really vividly on the DVD things in Asda back in the day.
Yeah.
There was Transmorphers.
Yes, there you go.
And big robot, they obviously trying to be like, oh,
it's supposed to look alike.
You ask for Transformers from Christmas from one of your parents or grandparent or whatever, and then they go in and they go, what did he say again? Transmorphers.
Oh, there you go.
Transmorphers.
What was that film, Sonny?
Yeah,
exactly.
That's literally what they relied on. Honestly, there's like whenever a Pixar movie came out, there's a shit version of that Pixar movie.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Done in low budget. Like there's the Cooking Rat movie with shitty 3D.
Rat.
There's a shitty like Finding Nemo parody that I think is like Fish Adventures or some generic name like that, or something like that. Like they just like.
Surely you'd call it like Finding Neil or something, or Finding Neil.
Finding Stevenson.
But look, the Titanic, the legend goes on. We have stayed up front. This is morally offensive.
Yes, it's a horrible
it has racial stereotypes.
It feels like it was. I don't know if you guys seen. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. There's this one episode where they basically get to. Like, they basically, like, they round them up and give feedback to a movie, and then they change the movie and make it, like, the worst thing ever. It's as if the cast from It's Always Sunny created a Titanic movie. Yeah.
I don't know if I can recommend this anymore. I kind of actually forgot about the racial stereotypes until you brought it up.
It's free.
I just can remember...
Yeah, the Mexican rats.
Squid and the awful voice acting and the really bad music... and just some of the memes from it. I don't really remember the other stuff. So maybe I need to go back and rewatch this. Or maybe this is actually... Yeah, maybe no one watched this.
Yeah.
Maybe stick to the Gerard Butlers and the Moonfalls after this discussion.
Maybe don't.
No, but generally, if So Bad It's Good movies is something that you enjoy, just know that to every Disney movie, there's a dark side version of it that's made cheaply with shit labor. And wait, no, actually, that's the Disney movies. So there even cheaper.
There's a
third
Finding Nemo animated ripoff.
Yes, what's it called?
I'm very confused by. Hold on, listen to this. It's called Finding Jesus,
there you
and
go.
it's got it's with a fish.
Yeah.
But also it's animation family fantasy, but it's apparently also rated 18. So I don't know what's going on with that.
I mean, if you've read the
I'm
Bible,
gonna get back to you
I
on
get
that.
it.
Maybe that's just misrated, but there you go. There's your other ripoff.
Oh, there you go. Finding Jesus.
Called Finding Jesus.
Oh man, yeah, that's the other good source of shitty content. It's like the Pure Flixes, the really like extremely religious Christian South who produce their own content and their own movies, and they're just really bad. I
Oh, yeah,
remember
terrible.
watching this like forgot his name, but someone ex guy saves Christmas. He's supposed to be like a big evangelical guy, and the whole message of the movie was about how he had an uncle who, like a brother-in-law or something, who was like really into Jesus but hated how materialistic Christmas was. And the whole message of the movie is how you have to forget about that stuff and just enjoy the materialism and the spending money on Christmas shit. And it's like, I feel like that's backwards, right? I feel like that movie's message is fucking backwards, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's terrible. I did not enjoy that watching that at all.
Well, but look, there we go. Film's so bad there's a hard pin to hit. But look, we just gave our opinion on all those films. Actually, sorry, I forgot to thank you guys for joining me. So thank you very much, Gonzalo, for joining me.
You're welcome. I mean,
and thank you, Kyle, for joining me as well.
Pleasure as always.
And on next week's show, we'll be talking about our hot takes.
Are we?
2. Yes, we did our hot takes. We did them last year. Yeah. Yes, and we're doing it next week. We're not changing the subject again.
Okay.
We're doing our hot takes. Last year we did our hot takes episode where we gave a bunch of controversial opinions of what we thought about certain films or film franchises and so on. And we're going to do it again.
I need to look it through so I don't repeat my hot takes.
Yes. And
I'm not repeating my hot take. I remember my hot take. I regret my hot take. I'm not saying it again.
Well, Kyle apologised for that on air, so it was okay.
Yeah.
But we'll be coming back with even hotter takes this time.
Yes.
All right, that's what we're doing. So
we can do one of those thumbnails where like we're all screaming and it's like hot takes, controversial, censored. You know.
Okay, well you can edit that since
I'll edit that. There we go.
You recommend complicated things.
We're promising things. We're promising things. Yeah.
Welcome back to another hostile work environment, Gonzalo. You've just left one.
Let's go.
Well, we just gave our opinion on all those so bad they're good films, but at the end of the day, those were our unwanted opinions. Thank you very much.